So right at the end of 2020, we get the new Netflix movie, The Midnight Sky, starring George Clooney and directed by George Clooney. But is it worth a watch today? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and on this channel it's my job to point you in the direction of movies worth checking out. So if that interests you, make sure you hit like and subscribe. It's the best way to show your support for the channel, and I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, go check out my business partners at Movie Scene Canada. They got a ton of contests on there, and who knows, you might just be the next lucky winner. But today I'm here to tell you whether or not The Midnight Sky is worth the watch. So, we have The Midnight Sky with George Clooney in front of and behind the camera, taking a page out of the playbook of Ben Affleck and Mel Gibson, I see. But just quickly, something you should know about me is that I really love space travel and NASA and space mumbo jumbo. I find that stuff really fascinating, and I was able to go to the NASA Space Center in Houston in 2019, and that trip was phenomenal. Seeing all the spaceships and learning all about the astronauts and all the different space missions, I find that stuff really interesting. However, you guys might find it a little weird that movies dealing with this sort of space travel, I find to be quite boring a lot of the time. Whether that be First Man, Ad Astra, and unfortunately this, I find them to be a little bit boring, and it's very hard for me to connect with the story and the characters and to be really emotionally invested. Now with most space movies, especially the recent ones, and Midnight Sky is no exception to this, it looks phenomenal, right? The visual effects, the cinematography, the color palette, the production design, the set design, the sound design, the score by Alexandre Desplat, it's all amazing, right? This movie is a spectacle to look at least. But it doesn't feel like a spectacle in terms of the emotions and the story and the characters. So what's the story? Well, we have George Clooney playing Augustine, and he is this space researcher who has to stay behind when everyone is evacuating Earth because of this apocalyptic event, which we don't really know about, and we don't really learn anything about it either. And some people might say, oh, I love how they don't actually show you the apocalypse and you have to just imagine it in your brain. And I understand where they're coming from with that, but I feel like if you really showed the destruction going on Earth, and what mayhem was happening and how we were responsible as human beings, I feel like that would have had me caring a lot more of what was actually happening on screen, because you don't actually see any of the destruction. You don't see any of the mayhem or the apocalyptic nature of the planet. You're just told about it very briefly. And instead, we get a movie that is quite quiet, quite slow, and for many people, for long stretches of the movie, it can get quite dull. But we have George Clooney playing Augustine, and he is at this research facility in the Arctic, and he is trying to reach out to a space mission that's coming back from this new planet that can inhabit life, K23, to say, hey, Earth is a no-go. You guys can't come back here. You guys gotta go back to where you came from. But he also finds this girl that is stowed away in the research facility, and he has to go to another research facility with a working antenna, and they have to brave the Arctic Circle. And while that's happening, you have the spaceship known as the Ether coming back to Earth from a research mission on K23. And I mean, no problem there. However, the characters in this movie I find to be kind of flat, right? You don't really get to know them very well, other than like, oh, this guy has a family. Okay, well, this guy is a researcher. This guy does this. This lady does this. And that's really it. We don't get a really large opportunity to really care about these characters, that when the emotional scenes do happen, I'm like, I know I should be caring about what's happening right now, but I don't. Now, I will admit that there is one story thread that is used throughout the entire movie where I was thinking, why is this in here? What's the point of this? But then at the end, it pays off, and I'm like, okay, I completely understand why they're doing this, and it completely fits into the message of the movie that we have to cherish humanity. A lot of us are just so caught up in our everyday lives, with our work, with our hopes, with our dreams, that we forget to really cherish the moments that truly matter, whether it's between friends, between daughters and sons and fathers and mothers, colleagues, people we care about. The movie really is about cherishing humanity, and, you know, with a movie coming out today, I think that's a pretty good message to have. So all in all, I think this movie's heart is in the right place and it looks amazing, but I just wish that there was more in terms of the emotional attachment to the characters in the story, and I just wish that there was more spectacle. Now, I will admit that if you guys enjoy more slower paced movies as opposed to those big action blockbusters, then you know what? I would say give Midnight Sky a try, because I am going to give The Midnight Sky a 3 out of 5, as I did like it. I just wanted to like this movie so much more. So while nothing really is bad in this movie, I just find it to be a missed opportunity for something really spectacular. So what about you guys? Are you guys a fan of space travel movies? Are you guys fans of movies about NASA or about space or about anything science fiction? Let me know down in the comment section down below. And are you planning to see Midnight Sky? And if you have, tell me your thoughts on it down in the comments. And if you're new here and you're just browsing your way through and you happen upon this video, definitely hit like and subscribe. It's the best way to show your support for the channel. And I hope you all have a happy holidays, and I'll see you guys in the new year. Take care.